Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers defeat the Buffalo Sabres 3-2 in Buffalo. So they hand the Sabres their 8th straight loss. And it was a much needed win for the Rangers. They didn't play all that well, but they found a way to get the win. And that's all that matters at this point. So I thought the Rangers came out and played well. First periods had been a big problem for them, although I feel like lately, very lately, maybe last 3-4 games or so, like they've actually kind of started out all right. And I feel like their game has maybe dipped as the time has gone on. And I think that in this game, they kind of sat on the lead a little bit in the third period. Ultimately they're able to get it done. And let's be honest, the Rangers are now 3-8 in their last 11 games with wins against Pittsburgh, Montreal, and Buffalo. So 3 teams that are not very good, 3 teams that I would not expect to make the playoffs. I'd be surprised if any of them did. And look, not going to complain about it, but I don't view this as a game where the Rangers have turned a corner. I don't see it that way. Like next game versus the Kings at Madison Square Garden, that's going to be a really tough one. Kings right now, as I record this, are on, I believe, a 6-game winning streak. But they do play the Devils before they play the Rangers, so we'll see what happens there. But Adam Fox gets 3 points and actually gets his first goal of the season on an empty net goal. So, you wouldn't expect that from him. He had 24 assists before recording a goal, and it's of the empty net variety. It's funny. I feel like we've seen this sort of thing in recent years with like Lindgren or even Trouba, maybe more so Lindgren, but you wouldn't expect it from Adam Fox. But maybe somehow this helps, him get on the scoreboard goal-wise, but that's not part of his game. Even though last year he really did take a step up in that department. Mika Zibanejad scores his 300th NHL goal. So congrats to him. It was a power play goal that that got the Rangers on the board and gave them a 1-0 lead. Mika, he was okay in this game. He was playing with some jump. And I feel like lately, one episode I'll give him some credit, and the next one it's like this guy's the worst guy on the team. So definite inconsistency, but good to see him score a power play goal that really for him in his career has been a bread and butter sort of thing for that power play production. So you get that. Igor Shesterkin with a strong game, gives up a couple of goals late. So he'd actually had a shutout, with 5 minutes to go, ends up giving up a couple of goals. But overall, really did a nice job making 29 saves on 31 shots. So, some good things. The lineup was the same. And I should mention that Keandre Miller left the game after the second period. So I wasn't exactly sure the play that he got hurt on. It might have been a collision with Jordan Greenway, possibly. I'm not really 100%, but he would play through the second. I didn't notice. I think that he had played his normal shifts through 2 periods, but then he did not return for the third, and there's no update on him. So that is a big deal. Now, as much as Keandre Miller, I think, has been someone that has been more negative than positive this season, it would be a big loss for him to miss any amount of time. And if he does, then it means that you're probably going to see one of Chad Ruedel or Connor Mackey or Matthew Roberts. I think Ruedel's probably the front runner. The only reason why I question is because if you go with Ruedel, then you'll have 4 righties and 2 lefties. But that's not something – they've done that this season. When Lindgren was out to start the year, they just moved Schneider over to the left side. So that's probably what will happen. Ruedel will probably be the one that gets called up if Miller is not back by the game on Saturday, which remains to be seen. So the third period, the Rangers had to kind of rely, on the likes of maybe rely is not the right word, but Mancini and Zach Jones, and again Schneider on the left side. They had to get creative with the 5 defensemen, and it meant and really you saw a lot of Fox and Lindgren in this scenario. But again, you end up getting 16 minutes and 48 seconds for Victor Mancini, which I have to imagine is probably close to, if not the most ice time that he's had in the game in his career. And look, I didn't think that Jones, just before Miller went down, I didn't love Jones and Mancini's game. I felt like they were getting pinned in a bit. Still, though, in terms of evaluation and whatnot, good to see them getting an opportunity. I like that, whether it's good or bad. And same with Braden Schneider. The fact that they can get these young players into different situations and giving them more of a chance, is only going to serve them well, just as far as knowing what they're working with. So hope Karen Miller is all right, because I think that if he were out for a sustained amount of time, that's going to put the Rangers in an even tougher position. Definitely. And then you're really relying on Ryan Lindgren a lot. And you just don't want to do that. Lindgren is someone that I think that if you can limit that ice time as much as you can, it's going to serve you well. As far as the forwards are concerned, it would be the same ones we saw last game. So again, no Jimmy Vesey and Johnny Brodzinski. It's interesting. It's reached the point now with Vesey where he's been a healthy scratch fairly regularly. And, someone who had a pretty big role on this team the last 2 seasons. That role has definitely decreased. Even when you think about just the penalty killing time, I don't really think he's played much on the PK, right? I think it's mainly been Carrick with Cooley. So just something to think about as far as VZ. And look, I have no reason to think he wouldn't last the remainder of the season on the team. He's certainly a quality, let's say you want to call him a 13th forward, certainly a quality got to have there. But just as far as in the long run, he is a free agent at the end of the season. It doesn't seem like he's someone that they really want to get in there. And I don't disagree with it. It's nice to see, Adam Edstrom getting every opportunity that he can, even if he doesn't play that much within a given game. And look, I think Sam Carrick, he's not the perfect player, but I even in this game, I felt like you notice him out there and he holds his own a bit. So I really don't have any issue with that. And Berard as well, even though it sucks, Berard ends up with him as a -1. We'll talk about that goal. It was the first goal that Buffalo scored, but Berard is very noticeable, buzzing around, getting to the puck. So a lot of good stuff there. At the same time, I felt like there was a lot of players that were fairly unnoticeable in this game. And it was, some of the things I picked up on. When it was interesting that at the end of the game, Will Cooley was in for Lafreniere for defensive purposes. Now, ironically, Cooley ends up breaking his stick and it leads to a Buffalo goal. But I don't know if we've necessarily seen that. I don't think we have. Like, you can tell that Cooley, who ends up playing 16 minutes and 56 seconds, that's actually quite a lot. Like, a lot more than his line mates. A lot more than Hedl and Kakko. And so you can tell that Laviolette is trying to get Cooley specifically out there more. One last thing I'll say is on the second power play unit, Kakko is off. They have Riley Smith and Will Cooley on, with, of course, Hedl, Lafreniere, and Zach Jones. So it seems like that spot is getting rotated, but until this point, Kakko had always been on it. He's off. And so with that, Kakko doesn't play on the penalty kill. So if he's on the power play, then his ice time really is going to be even further diminished. Not as if the second power play unit got that much time anyway, but yeah, not a great sign there. And then you have Cooley playing power play and penalty kill. So again, the Sabres coming on a 7-game losing streak. That continues to 8. Them hiring Lindy Ruff was just baffling to me to begin with. Obviously, when I think of Lindy Ruff, I think of him and he's a former player, former New York Ranger, in fact, but I think of him as the Buffalo Sabre longtime head coach. And I understand that maybe, the last time that they had any success was with him, but he had been the Ranger assistant coach not too long ago. Look, Lindy Ruff, beat the Rangers in the playoffs as the Devils head coach just a couple of years ago. But I don't know. I felt like that wasn't the direction that Buffalo should have went, and they did. And Buffalo just continues to just not be able to get out of this, season after season funk that they're in. But the Rangers, like I said, got off to a pretty good start, although 20 seconds in, Zibanejad trips Jordan Greenway. So the Rangers are shorthanded right away, and it was interesting. I feel like Zibanejad, a lot of the bad stuff he's done has been early in games or early in periods, and a lot of times it ends up in the back of the Ranger net. Well, this one's only a penalty, luckily, and the Rangers kill it off. Then at 6:53, Connor Clifton interferes with Adam Edstrom. And so that's worthy of mentioning. The fact that it was Edstrom, and so it's the fourth line that's drawing the penalty that leads to a power play goal, and it was Zibanejad. Like I said, his 300th NHL goal, 6th goal of the season, assisted by Panarin and Fox. So it's a face-off win. And they're, well, Yeah, was it I think it was a face-off win. Yeah, a face-off win, and Owen Power is unable to clear the puck. So Owen Power, and I think he actually might have been benched for the rest of the period by Lindy Ruff, but Fox keeps it in. Nice pass to Panarin, and Panarin with a really nice, east-west pass from the left side to the right side. Zibanejad with a very quick release is able to score past Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So that would make it 1-0 Rangers right there. Then wouldn't be a goal for a long time after that, not until the third. At 11:02, Ryan Johnson trips Sam Carrick. So again, fourth line drawing another power play. Rangers don't score on this one. And the Rangers have a 1-0 lead at the end of one, but they outshot Buffalo 11-7. I definitely felt as if they were the better team for sure. Second period, not as good for the Rangers. It wasn't bad, but Buffalo, found their game just a little bit. And in the second, Jordan Greenway trips Ryan Lindgren at 14:11. The Sabres kill that off, and then Ryan Lindgren at 18:27, it goes the other way. He holds Jordan Greenway, but the Rangers kill that one off. So we go to the third period. Rangers holding on to 1-0 lead. And with the Rangers this year, it seems as if in terms of the results, if nothing else, they've been doing a pretty good job of protecting the lead and not a great job when they're trailing. So, and I think that's why a lot of the Ranger games, they don't typically go to overtime. Most of these games end in regulation. Some of them are close, like this one. But the Rangers, except for that Carolina game, when they're leading after two, they'll get it done. On the flip side, when they're trailing after two, they don't win. So Rangers definitely kind of sitting back a bit. I mean, the Sabres end up out shooting the Rangers 16-5 in the third. They had their chances, and the Rangers had a failed opportunity again on the power play. And so it's the third person of the fourth line trio that draws the power play. Ryan Johnson hooks Brett Berard. But the Rangers don't score. Again, I felt like that fourth line did it. And that I hadn't even thought about this, right? I'm seeing who's drawing the penalties. It was just what I was watching. I felt like the fourth line had a good game, despite the fact that, again, on the plus-minus ledger, Berard and I guess Edstrom ended up -1. Rangers don't score on that power play. Then at 9:36, you get a rare fight in a one-goal game midway through the third, and it's Nick Aube-Kubel versus Vincent Trocheck. So in the moment, I didn't love that for the fact that you're losing Trocheck for some key minutes and key time. Luckily, it doesn't come back to bite them because, again, Aube-Kubel is not nearly as significant a player as Trocheck is to the Rangers, but also a good job by Trocheck and dropping the gloves and showing some fight, literally. So you get that. And then the Rangers are able to make it a 2-0 game. And at 13:29, Riley Smith scores his sixth goal of the season from Fox and Carrick. So we've been seeing a decent amount of goal scoring from Smith lately. That is now 3 goals in his last 4 games, dating back to the Pittsburgh game. And it could go even beyond that too, but that I know for sure. And what happens here is really this was against the pace of play. Buffalo had the puck in the Rangers zone for a while, and Sam Carrick is the one that does a really nice job as his line's changing. Carrick stays on, carries the puck into the zone. He finds Adam Fox. Fox takes a shot towards the net. It goes off the back wall, takes a favorable bounce to Riley Smith. He puts it towards the net, and it goes off of Owen Power and in as Luukkonen was out of position after the Fox shot. But Sam Carrick deserves a lot of credit, and Fox as well for joining the play deep in the offensive zone, and Riley Smith for being in that area. That's the thing, too. These Riley Smith goals right near the net. And I think that's what Smith has a bit of skill to his game, but I think, when I think about him on Vegas, a lot of goals in the greasy areas. And so that makes it 2-0 Rangers right there. However, nothing's easy with the Rangers. And Buffalo, very soon thereafter, less than 2 minutes after, Owen Power scores his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Krebs and Byram. So to that point, kind of a tough night for Power. He was kind of at fault for both goals against Buffalo. But in this situation, not a great line change where Trocheck and Fox leave the ice, and the other guys were still on. And so Mancini and Berard come on late. And Buffalo just has much too much room coming into the offensive zone. So we've seen this year where these bad line changes result in goals against. And Power, like I said, just had all the room in the world to take a shot, and he scores past Shesterkin. So and again, to that point, Igor had a shutout and was playing a really good game. So that makes it 2-1. The Sabres eventually pull the goalie, and at 17:58, Adam Fox scores his first goal of the season. It's an empty net goal assisted by Vincent Trocheck. So simply put, after the Rangers had just iced it, seems like the Rangers had very much of an attitude of just trying for the empty net, and if they ice it, so be it. And see, that's the trust in Vincent Trocheck. He's so good on faceoffs that you can take those chances. And what happens here is Fox, just from all the way down, he just takes a shot and he's able to find the back of the net. And again, hopefully somehow Fox, just by luck, he can start scoring some more goals. But the Rangers take a 3-1 lead, but it wasn't over. And like I said, Will Cooley was on instead of Lafreniere, and Will Cooley breaks his stick. And so that puts the Rangers in a bit of a tough spot. And the Sabres have good zone possession. Luckily, the Rangers made it 3-1, but the Sabres cut it back to 1 again as Tage Thompson scores his 16th goal of the season from Power and Peterka. So again, now it's very close again. And I'm not really too sure why, they like to have Panarin on in these empty net situations, which, look, he is good at scoring empty net goals, but he does get a lot of chances. Now, look, it was a 2-goal game, not a 1-goal game, so that is a big differentiating factor. But, just a very good shot by Tage Thompson. That's right in his wheelhouse on that left circle, just fires it, slap shot off the pipe and past Igor to make it to cut it to 3-2. The Rangers would hold on, though, and win by that final 3-2 in Buffalo. Both teams really needed it. The Rangers got it. And they're just kind of hanging on to, those last couple of playoff spots. It's very early in the season for that. We're only, like I said, we're about maybe a little more than a third of the way through the season. But, it's hard not to look at the standings, and the Rangers have just, as bad as it's been, they have still continued to kind of just hang on to again, one of those last couple spots, those wild card spots. And so now the Rangers are 15-12-1. And like I said, the next game will be a matinee game at Madison Square Garden Saturday afternoon against the really red-hot LA Kings. They're, as I'm recording this, they're coming off of a win versus the Islanders. They have their little tri-state East Coast trip. And so the next game they play is against the Devils, and then they'll play the Rangers. I would expect Jonathan Quick to be in there against his former team. That would just be my guess. And, I think it would make sense to do it. And we'll see how he does. I mean, last year, I remember he won the home game, and I think that they lost the road game. But I don't remember. I think that in both cases, goal totals were down. I think that the goaltending was good there. So, but yeah, this is going to be tough. And LA is, in looking at their stats, LA is a lot better at home. They are 10-2-1 at home. But here's the thing with the Rangers, and one thing I want to close out on is I feel like the Rangers have played a better brand of hockey on the road. And after that King game, they go back on the road for, I believe, at least 3 straight against Nashville. That's not the order. St. Louis. So it's actually a back-to-back. It's home against LA, and then the next day in St. Louis, which is kind of a little bit of a weird scheduling quirk. But for the fact that it's a Saturday afternoon game, it's not that difficult. So St. Louis, then Nashville, then Dallas. But I actually think that's a good thing. I think getting away from home, I mean, those games in MSG have not been very good, and maybe going on the road can do them some good. Again, notwithstanding the fact they have this King game back at MSG. So not pretty, but the Rangers find a way. And like I keep on saying, a much-needed win for them. And hopefully they can find a way for the first time in a while to get a 2-game winning streak. They are now 3-8 in their last 11 games. The last time they won 2 games in a row was at Seattle and at Vancouver, which now has been a while ago. So we'll see what happens. And hopefully Keandre Miller is okay. Keandre Miller leaving the game after the second period with an upper body injury. But either way, Rangers go to Buffalo. They take care of business, and they win the game by a score of 3-2.